Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you can all hear me. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and it's great to see you all watching today. And welcome. I'd love to say this is a new show, folks, but I've been on too many shows, right? I do too many shows, okay? This is supposed to be the successor show to our Thursday network show, but it's been in development hell, like a Bethesda game or something made by BioWare. But it's great to see everyone. Welcome to Digni's TNT. You may be wondering, why have I named this show TNT? Well, it's because those who know me, both before and after I became a cartoon, know that I'm an expert in blowing things up, content creation wise. And so is my special guest. So please welcome Legion. How you doing, Legion?
I'm outstanding, but usually when somebody says I blew something else up, I'm like, what I do now? Because half the time I didn't know I even did it.
Oh no, I feel you there. I feel you there. That's
No,
why.
it's
That's why you're the perfect guest for this. I'd love to say debut show, folks, but I'm doing too many shows, so this probably won't be a weekly thing. But it's great to have you here.
well, thank you. It's been a hot minute since I was on one with you. It was
Mhm.
before your before
Yep.
a certain person's channel got nuked. So that's the last time that you know I had an interaction with you and that certain person one. You, of course, behind the scenes because you're now the face, but you weren't then.
Yeah, it's so strange. It's so strange how you have to put it. But folks, this avatar, right? This cartoon picture was made by the great folks over at Subapath, Mustafa Al Hassani, great guy. And it's very it's very interesting because the show is called TNT and my profile picture was made by a Muslim. So, yeah,
So
make
you
of
could say
that.
it's the bomb.
Yes, in more ways than one, but you won't find me on a plane. But it is great to see everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to have to turn up the volume a little bit on my end. I had to keep the volume low for the intro for me, because quite frankly, I was getting a headache today. And then I took some white pills, and now I feel better. I don't know what those white pills are. I just feel better. But it's great to see myself in my old picture because I haven't changed it on YouTube. It's good to see Jose over at Cancel This Podcast. Great to see Legion. It's great to see. Well, that's everyone. I think most of the people who are going to watch this show are either lurking or checking out the replay. But we appreciate all those who watch, whether it's live or on replay. We haven't done a Thursday show before on this channel, so I'm not expecting many people to watch. But if you're here, like the stream, share the stream. I'd love to say donations are always welcome, but we're not monetized on YouTube, and I don't think we ever will be, considering the name of this show. But before we get into our topics, we got four topics. I'm just going to catch up with Legion because it has been a while since we've had a good talk. And the last time me and Legion talked, one to one it was before I was a cartoon, but on a panel setting, I think it was a Wednesday show, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was our Rumble show, our debut Rumble show, which did very well. So you may be wondering, why aren't we doing this on Rumble? I can answer that question for you. The reason we're not doing this on Rumble is lightning doesn't strike twice. Okay, it strikes once, but not twice. I'm sure we get more viewership on Rumble, and we might even get a donation or two, but we want to make sure the folks watching on YouTube know that we still exist and that we're still doing what we are doing. It's separate, but it's equal. And it's great to see St. Hugo. I hope you're doing well, my good man. You can catch Hugo on our Wednesday shows, maybe our Friday shows sometime in the future. We appreciate him. The funniest guy in Germany is Hugo. We appreciate him. And, I've
That's a
noticed
that's
this
a tall
on.
order because they're not typically a funny people.
No, no. In fact,
I,
Saint Hugo, Saint Hugo. Every time I talk to him, great guy, but he always sounds depressed when he talks. So that's why I call him the funniest German I've ever met. Quite
yeah,
frankly.
I
Mm.
did it again. I love the German people. Actually, I
Hmm.
did a stint in Germany. I lived there for 3 years in the U.S. military. So there's always going to
Ooh.
be a special place in my heart for Germany. It also goes to be said that they're a lively people, but they have a very dry sense of humor. It's probably why I get along with them. So
Yep. Great people. Great people. But we appreciate everyone for being here. If you haven't already, like the stream, share the stream, that sort of thing. We appreciate any support. Last time I checked, we were at 8 likes. So if we can get to 10, that would be great. I'm not expecting today's show to do anywhere near as well as previous shows on this channel, but I'm very grateful for all the support. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to the first topic, which I was supposed to talk about on Monday's show, but we ran out of time. We didn't do a show on Wednesday because I was completely shattered on Wednesday. I just didn't feel up to it. So we're now doing a show on Thursday instead. So 2.1, I'll write down for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. There we go. And the first topic is about a game. It's about a game called Relooted and how it has backfired after stereotypical robbery backlash. Now, I don't know if you've heard anything about this,
I have.
Legion, but I can tell you for a fact that this project, well, I'll share my screen to provide some context because a picture tells 1,000 words. Courtesy of Grimaldus, who got it courtesy of Pirate Nation. This is what Grimaldus reacted to. I'll just share my screen real quick because I do not have a producer, nor do I want one. Anti-racist game about black people. The game is about looting and robbery. Basically. Okay, and that was courtesy of Pirate Nation. New look at Reloaded, the anti racist game that claims to promote African culture but focuses on theft, robbery, and looting, launches February 10th. And I am sure, Legion, that Relooted in 2026 will be akin to Dustborn in 2024. What do you think?
Oh, don't you be hating on Dustborn. That's a high quality game that I never finished because, quite frankly, it felt like my soul was falling out of my ears. Reloaded is again, yes, it is a extremely, and I'm kind of getting tired of the term woke, but it's, let's say it's a DEI game that, quite frankly, is to cater to the struggles of black people, and it just projects the worst stereotypes about them. It just projects the absolute worst stereotypes. And I laugh because I get called racist on the internet, by the way. And
Oh,
it's hysterical because one of my uncles is black. So, and he's
there
actually
we
my
go.
favorite uncle because he was in the army too. So him and I get along like it's night and day. Seriously, we joke around, we talk shit, and he is one of the first ones to call this crap out. He's like, you know what? He's like, I don't like other N words. He's like, because quite frankly, they irritate me. So this is the worst subculture you could have. And again, this is not all black people, but you're
No,
making
no.
it look like it's all black people.
Yep.
Like, this is horrendous. What are you doing?
Well, it's a 97 seconds trailer, right? It's
Hmm.
rated 10, which would be like PG, I think, for Europe. You know, about 10, E for everyone, just below PG. So it's supposed to be safe for all audiences. I wonder why it's not E for everyone, because it includes theft.
Be, probably because it contains possible racist stereotypes in a
Oh,
sense,
damn.
but only because they're going to try to do it to make more white people look bad.
Oh, damn. But we're going to play some of this clip. We're going to do it, about 20 seconds at a time because you know how nefarious YouTube can be. Sit back, relax, and enjoy 2026 Dustborn.
Talk to me, Cryptic.
It's in the air.
Good. Let's do this. What's the target?
Behold, the Bangwa Queen from Cameroon.
We must return her home.
Anything else while we're there?
Ooh, that Asante gold mask would be great to have.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. An Asante gold mask. So these are, I believe they're legitimate artifacts, right? But the thing is, they want to steal them and bring them back home, where they will be inevitably destroyed by the local indigenous population.
Yeah, so an Asante gold mask actually is a legitimate thing. It there is one that looks extremely similar to that, actually. The Empire of Ghana. Anyway, again,
Mhm.
as I said, this is basically to own the white people because we conquer and destroy everything in their opinion. It's not like that the warring tribes of Africa haven't been, weren't warring a thousand years before the white people got there. It's not that the warring tribes of Africa were the first slaveholders that sold them to the white people that came on the boats. It's
Yep.
it's that white people bad, and quite frankly, we should all be guilty of it. And they need to steal their heritage back from white people,
Mhm.
because again,
Why
I
why
don't.
does this why does this gold mask have its head caved in?
I don't know, but in the real photo, it does have something extremely similar. So
Mhm.
maybe it was a vandalization.
You
Because
never know.
again, there are grave robbers everywhere. Ancient Egypt
Mhm.
proved that. And again, quite frankly, ancient Egyptians are a part of the African continent. Are they black? No. Are they a little more Mediterranean looking? Yes, but at the same time, it's I'm sure, Africans from the past looted graves and they destroyed stuff. So
That's putting it lightly, but folks, I'll, I'll put it this way for you, ladies and gentlemen. Quite simply, we are dealing with something that doesn't really happen. Doesn't really happen much, right? You don't see mass museum robbing so much anymore. You used to, long time ago, but you don't see much of it anymore. But now we have provided some context. Another 20-second clip.
Great to have.
Okay, how do we get in?
You can go through the front door, sis, but you'll need to be quick.
Through the garage. Wednesday's garbage collection. So security is lax.
Locked. New shutters. I can handle the locks.
Look at that combo!
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll take that.
what
So
the
there are
freak?
many, yeah, there's many approaches, Legion, in how to essentially break into the museum. There's the direct approach. There's also the nefarious approach, and for all we know, there could be more approaches as we continue this trailer. Thoughts?
I'm just the guy in the what is it? Yeah, the LA Lakers colors. So he's wearing the purple and the gold, doing, I don't know, like, what is that? Like, what is that? The LeBron James punch through the door? Like, what are we
Oh,
talking
damn.
about? It's like, what the hell is that?
There
And
has to
he
be a
again,
there has
it's
to
so
be a fanciful element to this.
no, it's something. It's
Mm,
I'm this borders on satirical. It really does. Like Dustborn
exactly.
did. Like Dustborn
Mm.
did.
Exactly. And we're trying our best to be polite, ladies and gentlemen, considering the name of this show, and we both specialize in causing controversies. This is one hell of a topic to start off with. And it's great to see Prophetic Apathetic and Galaxy Red in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. We're just going through the 97-second a trailer clip of Reloaded and how it's causing a quite significant backlash. You could say that Reloaded in 2026 has backfired as badly as Dustborn did in 2024. So this is a gift for creators such as ourselves who know that there is a massive problem in our entertainment and gaming spaces. And this is living proof, just like Dustborn was a few years back. Great to see Roadkill. I hope you're doing well. My good man, we'll just play another 20-second clip here and then provide some more context.
Well, for closed off valves, we'll need them dead.
I'm on it. I'm in.
Have you got a surefire way out? Once the alarm is tripped, you won't have time to think.
So think ahead. Got it.
That door will close when the alarm is triggered.
Your exit route is through.
Okay, so there seems to be, potential options to get in and out of the place you're robbing. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of Director X's Robin Hood. I don't know if you guys remember that. Where
Oh,
Robin
I
Hood,
so much do.
yeah, Robin Hood was a black woman and she be robbing, she be robbing. And this is what it kind of reminds me of. If that were a game. It's insane. Personally, I look at this and I think to myself, what are we doing here? What is going on with this project, right? This art style, I know you're probably not supposed to pause when you look at this specific clip, but this is supposed to be a trailer, and it looks bleak, it looks drab, and it looks like a parody. It is. It looks like a parody of a game. In a similar way, Dustborn was a parody. Sorry to continue making allegories with Dustborn, folks, but it's the similarities, not maybe in the style of game, but the similarities in presentation cannot be denied.
Yeah, it's again, it's a side scroller. So yes, as Galaxy Red said, it has kind of some assets of Fallout Shelter. What's the one with the little kids in the nightmare world? It's like Little Things or something like that. Anyway, not really my favorite style of gameplay. I understand that there is a nostalgia to that, which is great. But this is just ridiculous. Like that building with the lights on it. What is that? The projects? Like, are you serious? Like, come on, man. It doesn't look like an abandoned building. It looks like the projects that like poor people live in. Yes, like Robin in the Hood from Director X, who's a loser, who thought, and a Canadian who thought he did something that was spectacular. He's like, well, her and her band, literally band of merry men, rob from the rich and rob from the rich and give to the poor. And it's just, God, it was awful. It's just the worst interpretation ever. Because again, you're bastardizing something that comes from the actual English lore, right? Like this is it's so stupid.
I know. Feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? 3 years. 3 years nearly.
It's been 3
Feels
years.
like a lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. 3-4 years around that period. I'd say around that period. It just goes to show how much the landscape shifts. And folks, thank goodness for all of the people who rightfully condemn that Robin Hood project, because no second season has been made for obvious reasons. Likewise with Dustborn. I know a sequel is planned for Dustborn eventually, but
Yes.
it's not in the short term. Let's just put it that way. And if this game flops, the same applies to Reloaded. We may never get a Reloaded 2, and that's why it's so important for viewers and creators to talk about these things, to look into the discourse, to tell folks whether they enjoy it or not, and provide reasons and context and so on, because we can make a difference, folks, all of us. That's the point of content creation. We all hang together instead of hanging separately. But now for another 20-second clip.
The construction site.
However you get here, we'll be waiting for you.
I'm ready. Let's bring it home.
Go, big sis!
It's time to get out of there.
I've almost got it.
Luckily, Africa has you on their side.
Nearly there, Nomani.
Bad guys are coming. Go time.
Run!
Sorry for playing it a little longer, folks, but you can see the process of timing an escape. So I'll just play the rest of it just so we can finish it off.
10 seconds left. That thing is fast.
Move, Nomani.
Let's go!
Okay, so she was running away from a drone, folks, an evil Caucasian drone. I mean, what do you make of that speedy exit from robbing the museum through the construction site?
Well, my favorite part of it is when Africa would be proud to have you, or is
Yeah,
lucky to have you, whatever was
yeah,
said. That is the most horrendous thing ever because you are so tone deaf, you can't read the room. That literally in today's world, there are roughly about 31 million slaves on this planet, and the majority of them are on the African continent or in the Middle East. This is so tone deaf that it's actually hysterical. That's what it is. It's hysterical. These people are so inside, so far up their own ass, they cannot see straight. That this is the most racist thing. This is more racist than Dustborn. It's probably
yep.
more racist than what was that game that's coming out too? Take Us North. The
Oh,
illegal immigrant allegory. Here we go.
oh,
Like, what do you
oh,
guys?
oh! You reminded me of that awful project, folks.
Oh, it's still
But
coming out supposedly.
I mean, Legion guys watching, whether live on the replay, Relooted will be available February 10th, right? On
Well,
Steam, Epic, and Xbox. It will not be on PlayStation and it will not be on Nintendo.
what? So Nintendo and Sony are like, "Hey, bro, we're out, dude. This ain't happening here."
Mm,
No, I just want to say that this is so beautiful because it's just in time for Black History Month, uh,
oh,
which is February in the United
yep.
States. And you know what? Shout out because all those black people. Let's remind them that they're poverty stricken and in some of the
Mhm.
worst areas, and they kill and loot things because, quite frankly, politicians have been lying to them for, well, centuries at this point. Democrats, because Democrats were the original slaveholders. They were the original ones. Yeah, it's not the Republicans. Actually, when Lincoln freed the slaves, it was voted 100% by Republicans to free the slaves. Only about, I think it was like 67% of Democrats agreed to free the slaves. I'm not joking,
Yep.
dude. Yeah, so again, keep them on the plantation. It's propaganda. It's what it is. And it's beautiful and I love it.
I just think, and cancel this podcast, Jose over there, great guy. He makes the narrative argument that, to quote Jose directly, every fucking content creator is going to play it, unquote. It being relooted. I would agree for the most part. I think the opportunists will, right? And look, even those within the network are opportunistic, right? Dash Attack, famously, right? And we're going to have a great show with Dash Attack tomorrow. Famously was one of the first content creators to play Dustborn, right? Do a Dustborn stream. And it got thousands of views, right? A few hundred people were watching live to witness such an awful project being made manifest. Okay. So yes, I can understand the opportunistic nature of content creation, right? Especially if you're like, hey guys, make some videos, make a show. If we hit a certain goal, we'll play an awful game and I'll punish myself, that sort of thing. Right? Some creators like it, some creators don't. My mentor on occasion has done such things in regards to Dustborn. Of course, it was months and months. I think it was well over a year after it was released. So it wasn't to capitalize on the situation as a topic of the day. But Dustborn was that bad, you had to torture yourself to play it and complete it, right? I
Oh,
remember. Well, I
oh no, go
remember.
ahead.
Well, I was just going to say. I remember when Atreus, who I like Atreus, right? That's why I made Rumble exclusive videos about him and every time he says problematic stuff, including every time he says the N word, right? So check that out on my Rumble channel. Can't put it on YouTube because A, it'll probably get flagged by the AI, and B, Atreus will probably flag it too. Let's be real. Okay. But he did a few Dustborn playthroughs in complete clown makeup to try and capitalize on the situation. Right. And he ended up not completing the game as a playthrough. Okay. And some creators were like, dude, you gotta play that through. You promised. And he's like, nah, bro. Nah, bro. Because it's that bad and it's torture to get through. Okay? Absolute torture. So I understand the mindset behind those who stream bad games to showcase how bad they are. And I also understand those with the mindset of you're giving this stuff way too much publicity. Unfortunately, folks, a lot of content creators, including the prominent ones, do make a name for themselves by highlighting the problem first so they can propose solutions and be the change you want to see. We're not all Eric July. We can't just shit out 100 grand out of our ass and be the change we want to see, okay? Some of us have got to do it the hard way by highlighting the problem, finding solutions, usually by proposing them, then being the change we want to see. So, what do you think, Legion?
Well, yeah, quite frankly, look, I completely understand because look, bad ideas need to be put out into the open because it is just absolute. This is atrocious in every sense of the word. Dustborn is atrocious, and it makes me, yes, well after the fact, pick the game back up of Dustborn, finish it because I only made it like maybe in 2 hours into it, and I was so like ugh about it. I had to stop. I had to stop. It was so bad. So again, I don't want to bash on anybody for, for wanting to play bad video games. That is their prerogative, but it's not my speed. I'll play it, usually play them eventually after the fact. But again, you know what? You do you. Some people, if you're a monetized channel, dude, get your clicks, man. Get
Yep.
people in there and watch how bad this is because again, being monetized, YouTube is going to push you farther than non-monetized channels. So it's I say go for it. And even if you're a non-monetized channel, if you want to play something, just play something. Don't listen
Yeah.
to, don't listen to the punk asses who are like, oh, and that goes for television too. You know what? I have a lot of problems with the Fallout show, but I genuinely am loving the Fallout show. And
Mhm.
so, it's one of those things. Do you want to do it? You do it. So,
Are you guys experiencing snowstorms in the U.S. currently?
well, at least in Colorado, we are having statistically odd weather. It is not as cold this winter as it usually is. Why?
Oh, apparently there's a snowstorm coming. Apparently. I don't know. It's hard enough checking the weather in my own part of the world, never mind in a foreign country. But hopefully,
I feel like there's an inside joke there. A snowstorm? Like,
yeah, hopefully you guys don't get snowed in. But imagine getting snowed in and having to play Relooted. Okay.
you know what? I might try the demo just for fun. And
Oh.
again, it's going to be for my entertainment and for
Mm.
laughs. I don't know if it's going to be as bad as Dustborn. Dustborn was really, really bad. And then again, I could stand corrected. I don't know. I want to
Mm.
play Take Us North because I want to see again. This is a mind virus of these people who think that they're doing the right thing, portraying certain people in a certain way to showcase that they have been oppressed and taken advantage of. and for blah 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 for all the for decades, centuries, millennia, whatever. It's just not. It's gross. It's
Yep.
racist in the most basic form. Because you're like, oh, black people, let me help the black man because he's black. That's
Yeah, it's
racism.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Well, hopefully, I don't know where Galaxy Red lives. He could live in Alaska for all I know. But hopefully, you don't have power or internet issues, because the last thing you want is to lose power in the middle of a snowstorm. That because if it doesn't come back on, you'll freeze to death eventually. But on that note, folks, since we have done exposing Relooted, hopefully it crashes and burns. Let's talk about our second topic. I dare say it's one of our main topics. Write it down for 34 minutes and 30 seconds. Give me enough time to say, like the stream, share the stream. We appreciate everyone's support. We're currently, last time I checked, at 13 likes. If we can get to 20 by the end of the show, that would be fantastic, because if I can get to 20 likes on a one-to-one show, it's competing with all the other shows we've done. And that gives me the incentive to keep this going. So the second topic, folks, is about Trump's Greenland deal. We're going to explore that a little bit, mirroring Britain's deal with Cyprus. Now, I did find this whole situation very interesting, right? The whole Greenland situation, this massive kerfuffle of, does America want Greenland? Are they willing to buy Greenland? Will they invade Greenland? Does Donald Trump really think Greenland is green and Iceland is ice? I don't know. I don't know. I like Trump. I like his mindset, right? I'm not a fan when he goes nuts, or when I think he goes nuts, because sometimes he does. Okay. I don't want to support a man who would be falling for a 1,000-year-old trick. Okay. Because the reason Greenland is called Greenland is because of propaganda reasons. This Danish lord, this Danish monarch centuries ago was like, this is Greenland, this is Iceland. So that all of his opponents went to Greenland, couldn't come back, and froze to death.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Iceland wasn't made of ice. Yeah, it's a very odd story. That was back in the day when Denmark controlled Norway, Iceland, and Greenland, long time ago. But I find this deal very interesting. Some people are saying it's just the status quo repackaged. Other people are comparing it to the deal that the UK has with Cyprus, which I do find very interesting, considering the fact that Britain's deal with Cyprus only exists so that Cyprus, which isn't a united country, it's quite a divided country, doesn't tear itself to pieces, because Northern Cyprus is Turkish, folks, and Southern Cyprus is Greek. So it's not a united country. And the reason Britain has military enclaves in Cyprus is to essentially keep the peace permanently there, which is crazy when you think about the state of the UK. But this is courtesy of a pro Trump account called Wall Street Mave, or however you pronounce that. So the new
Mav,
deal is,
kind of like Maverick.
quote, Mav. There we go. So the new deal is, one, Denmark has to keep paying the population of Greenland $600 million dollars rather a year for 58,000 people. $600 million a year for 58,000 people. So divide 600 million between 60,000, and every Greenlander gets what? $10,000?
Uh, that's a
100,000?
no, 10 million.
No, it's
No.
not 10 million. That'd be 60.
What?
So
Yeah.
let's do the basic mathematics here. So if it was a million, it would be 600. If it was 100,000, it would be 6,000. For 10,000, it would be 60,000.
No, you're right.
So
10,000. You're right.
yeah,
10,000.
$10,000 per Greenlander,
Math
man,
was
woman,
never
and
my strong
child.
suit, so because I come from the U.S., so
Yeah,
don't listen to me.
It's all right, but $10,000. The Danes spend $10,000 per person in Greenland. That's crazy.
Can Denmark buy the city that I live in, and I could have $10,000 a month? I'd be willing to change. I'll change my.
No, there's no way that is true. There is no way. That's like the government. That would be like the American government, Legion, spending $10,000 per citizen in the USA.
I
That's
mean,
that's terrifying. That's a terrifying amount.
do you put that kind of stuff past stupid people?
Well, Denmark is. I wouldn't call Denmark a stupid country. First of all,
Oh
it's
no,
not
I'm
like
talking about politicians. They're stupid.
well, yeah, that's understandable. Um, Denmark is not like the UK or Germany or France. It's not as if we're in the stage where Denmark has fallen. Okay, Sweden has fallen, but Denmark has not. Okay, it's not in that kind of serious situation. I just find it very interesting that this is being packaged as a new deal when, from what I'm reading, it's just the status quo repackaged, which I think really embodies the Trump legacy. It is the status quo repackaged into something uh, that you can support, which is sad to admit, but that appears to be the Trump legacy at the moment. Number two, quote, the USA gets sovereignty over whichever parts we want for US military bases. Denmark has guaranteed that ever since Denmark was a part of NATO. And I think they've been part of NATO since the beginning of NATO, which I believe was in 1949, if I remember correctly. The Warsaw Pact was founded, or was it the other way around? I don't remember, but do a Google search, folks. You'll find out. The third part is the USA gets mineral rights. Well, that's subject to debate.
You're right.
Um,
1949.
there we go. The Warsaw Pact was founded in response in 1955. There we go. Point four is China and Russia aren't allowed in Greenland. Well, they weren't allowed in Greenland before. Um, why would China have any interest in the other side of the world? And in Russia's case, they are literally bleeding out in their own endless war. And point five is cost $0. Now, the response to this has been, mixed, to say the least. Some people are praising it as the art of the deal. And I think this picture really, because I know it's edited, obviously, I'm not an idiot. This picture really embodies the Trump legacy of repackaging the status quo. Because him flipping someone off is real. He flipped off a Ford worker who accused him of
He
of
did.
being an Epstein collaborator, and essentially a child trafficker collaborator. I won't go any further than that. But this has been repackaged to make Trump look based, right? So this picture is the living embodiment of Trump's legacy, repackaging the status quo to make it look better than it actually is. Legion, what do you make of this situation?
So the long and the short of it is that what the last time we talked about this, what last Wednesday it was, or two
Mhm.
Wednesdays ago. So my apologies. I literally said that the whole entire purpose of this is because the United States wants Greenland for military bases because, and again, Russia uses the Arctic Sea as a means of transportation for their military. So it is a way to strategically position our bases again to show dominance in the world of Russia, who is aligned with China, who's aligned with Iran, and they all hate our
Mhm.
guts. So they hate the UK's guts, they hate the United States. If you're a Western civilization that believes in freedom, now the UK, y'all are really pushing the envelope here. Um, so if you're basically you believe in freedom, they want to destroy you because now again I have more issues with probably China and Iran than I do with Russia. at least the Russian citizens are not being arrested for social media posts. There's roughly there was 900 cases. I think it was like 963 cases of arrest for social media posts or something like that
Mhm.
last year. The UK had like 12,782. Something
Yep.
insane. So Russia is not the giant boogeyman that we attribute to it be any as much anymore. Again, should we be? It's always good to strategically position yourself because we are the United States. We are, unfortunately, whether we want to be or not, we are the world police. What we do in strength causes people to back down because they don't want conflict. So inadvertently, it causes peace. Now, when we go pick a fight, that's a different story. So, looking at you, George H.W. Bush. So, anyway, that's what it is. Greenland is great strategically for military purposes, and that's what we're going to use it for. And there was never any doubt about that. So no, it's not about what people are making it out to be. It's really not. It's just about military command.
Oh, well, folks, I know this isn't a topic for today's show, but the US has joined that list of people who get arrested for social media posts. What happened in Florida recently is proof of that. Because,
Well, what I
n-
miss?
oh, a Floridian citizen basically got door knocked by the police there and arrested a citizen for a social media post that was pro Palestinian and therefore anti Jewish. It caused a massive backlash. I was supposed to cover it this Wednesday, but
Mm.
couldn't do a show. But I'm sure we'll cover it later today on Cancel This Podcast, exclusively on Rumble. And because I'm, embodying the spirit of TNT, I might just put it on YouTube. Uh, talk about all or nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, yes. Jose also makes the point in the chat that the city of Miami have banned several people for playing controversial music at a nightclub, which caused a bit of a backlash as well. So a lot of things are going on in
Good
Florida.
lord.
And yes, the first people to be arrested for speech violations in the United States were not demon rats in Michigan or California, but one of the most red states in the Union, which is oddly enough Florida. So the more you know.
That's because usually, in a sense, the redder the state, if you have let's say a bastion of blue, which Miami and Tampa and Orlando, oh God, Orlando
Hmm.
are, yes, you're probably gonna get you're gonna get bigger pushback because again, these people they feel so. And kind of look at it like this.
Hmm.
Uh, People from up north have invaded Florida. Now, a lot of other people who wanted, were fleeing COVID restrictions and stuff like that, and that's why they moved to Florida. But anyway, yeah, it does not surprise me that they're cracking down on certain things. I would have guessed Orlando and not Miami, but Miami doesn't surprise me either.
Well, things are going to get real interesting in Florida because where Florida goes, the rest of the states will follow. It is the third, electorally, Florida is the third most powerful state in the union now.
It is, yes.
Along, first is California, which is struggling and bleeding out, for lack of a better term, and then second is the state of Texas, which is turning ever more purple by the year politically. But when we look at the situation with Greenland, right, let's assume, for the basis of argument, because there are many options in this situation. Let's assume Trump invaded Greenland and occupied it. Okay. It would cause an international backlash, the likes of which the United States has not seen in living memory. And it would spook the European Union to reevaluate its trajectory. Where it is currently is, I don't really want to do much because my friendly Americans will back me up, right? That's a good position for the Europeans to be in. Seems like a bad position for the Americans to be in, right? That's that's without looking at the potential of the European Union, right? Because let's face it, the European Union has the potential to be a powerhouse if it could simply get its act together, which it
Mm-hmm.
won't because it relies too much on the United States. But if the
But
US occupied Greenland, it would cause the EU to have a pretext to get its act together and within a generation become a great power. And that should worry the United States,
you think it
quite frankly.
would? You
Yes.
really think it would? And trust me,
Yes.
I completely understand. I actually agree with where you're coming from.
Hmm.
I think the European Union should be more of a powerhouse than it is. It's kind of like, well, it's a paper tiger, much like
Yes.
China is.
Hmm.
Because quite frankly, and that goes for the whole entire world. You have these countries that hate the United States guts. You have people in Europe who hate Americans. They had our guts. But the thing is, though, is
Yep.
that if the United States collapsed tomorrow, the rest of the world would follow within a week.
Of
It's
course.
just this. It's a sad state of the way things really are. This
Hmm.
world is very unstable. The only thing that actually really holds it together is the United States. Europe is second, and then everybody else is just a second or third world country. And yeah, that goes for China and Russia too. They're not first world countries. They're just not.
No.
They're second world countries. They're not third world like Iran, but they're not bringing a whole lot to the table here.
Well, let's put it this way. In order for the Chinese to have an American standard of living, their economy has to be 4 times the size of the United States at least. And that's not happening within any of our lifetimes, even if the US has a permanent depression. Okay. So we have to consider the fact that for China and India, especially because they have much bigger populations, they would need vastly bigger economies to achieve first world living standards, especially India, whose population is not going down anywhere near as much as the Chinese is, right? But consider this, consider an America where Greenland is American. Canada's position as a sovereign state becomes untenable because it's surrounded practically on all sides. So eventually, the entirety of Canada, becomes American territory. It wouldn't become a series of American states because it would be political suicide for the Republican Party. You would literally have blue forever, right? And then you guys have got a taste for it. You think no one's going to stop us taking whatever we want. So we'll take as much as we want. We'll take Panama and its canal, or retake rather. We'll take Mexico. No one's going to stop us. No one stopped us over Greenland. No one stopped us over Canada. And it's that you get a taste for it. And
Mm-hmm.
the only way you ever stop is when you get a bloody nose, and that will never end well. Okay, it will never end well. And thankfully, that's not where things are going. But who knows? Trump still has 9 months to change his mind because I personally think if you look at what's best for Trump and his team and his legacy, going down the military path is best for him because it ensures that his survival, political survival, and his legacy surviving, it maximalizes that personally. Because I do not believe that he will be a free man by the end of the decade if we keep going as we are going. That's just my own personal perspective. Feel free to disagree with me, folks. I don't think the midterms are going to do very well for the Reds, and no, not the commie Reds, folks. The
Yeah.
actual Reds.
Yeah.
And my perspective is NATO has served its purpose. America must do what's best for America. The European Union, it's not all of Europe, but it practically is. The European Union must do what's best for the European people. I wish they did, but currently they don't. And maybe if they didn't have to rely on the United States, they probably would be more pro European people because they can't rely on the US to bail them out. And then
Yes,
because
that's a big problem.
yeah, because there are two separate spheres of influence, European and American. Well, then Europe has no reason to be hostile to the Russians and the Chinese. The only reason the EU is hostile to the Russians is because of, let's face it, history. It's got nothing to do with
Yes.
present day reality.
No.
It's all because of the fact that NATO is an outdated institution that was purpose built to destroy the Warsaw Pact and the Soviet Union that led it. It is literally existing in a day and age where it shouldn't exist because it's achieved its objective. Quite frankly, folks, and this applies to all things, all people, all institutions, when it's served its purpose, it should end, but it doesn't. And that's why I think Trump should have been like, let's just take it over. Because in the long term, it would be best for Americans and it would be best for Europeans.
Well,
Because let's face it, two different peoples, two different objectives. Go ahead.
well, I'm just going to say the long and the short of it is we're literally coming up on the 40-year anniversary of the collapse of the Soviet Union. NATO is old. It's outdated. There's no Soviet Union left to fight.
Yep.
Like this doesn't need to be a thing anymore. And so the hostilities don't need to be a thing. Again, the president of NATO, all he had to do was assure before Russia invaded Ukraine, no, Ukraine will never ever become a part of NATO ever.
Mhm.
That's all you had to say. Literally, Crimea and the Donbass region identified as Russians anyway. They didn't really want to be
Yep.
Ukrainian. They wanted to be Russian. It was fine. Russia, occupied those territories because those people wanted to be Russian, not Ukrainian. And all the president of NATO had to say was, no, Ukraine will never join NATO. It's that simple.
Mhm.
But he didn't say that. He said, well, I can't promise that. He's like, you never know what the future holds. So Vladimir Putin went, dude, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to
Yep.
invade Ukraine. Again, that's no different than Russia putting a military base in Canada or literally in Mexico going, what's up, guys? We're here. Hi. And give us the finger. That's what it is. We gave
Or
Russia the
to,
finger.
Or to make things more familiar, Cuba.
Yes, Cuba. There you go. The Cuban Missile Crisis. Guess what?
Yeah.
That was a real thing where the United States panicked because we're like,
Yep.
holy shit.
Mhm.
Like, it's not a hard concept. And now, again, there are probably some mistakes made, and the deals of, after the Soviet Union collapsed, maybe
Yep.
Ukraine should have had a missile. Maybe they shouldn't have. I don't know. You can weigh it however you want. If they had a missile because it was part of the former Soviet Union, they had missiles. They were told to dearm. They dearmed. Maybe that was a bad idea. I don't know. But anyway, the long and the short of it is it's nothing but a meat grinder at this point in Ukraine with the Russia-Ukrainian war. It's nothing but a meat grinder. Hundreds of thousands of people are dead for what? Because one Deutschbag in NATO couldn't say, yeah, we're not, Ukraine can stand on its own. It's fine. We'll support them, but they'll never be a part of us and they don't need to be.
I've seen estimates at casualty rates in terms of deaths, guys, for the Russia-Ukrainian war to be as high as 1.5 million dead
I believe it.
in nearly 4 years, right? Hundreds of thousands of troops on both sides have lost their lives. Half of Ukraine has just left the country at this point. The Russians, as I predicted, right? They take a bloody nose, but they will win. They are that kind of people. They always have been, and they always will be. And I'm basically thinking to myself, right? Because I think most of our viewers are American, right? I'm a European. I think American interests differ from European interests, right? We're only standing together because of our shared history, our shared modern history. And I think it's about time that we go our own separate ways and do what's best for ourselves. And what's best for the United States, practically? It's to make sure that US interests are protected in North and South America. It's as simple as that, right? I just found it incredible that Pete Hegseth, I can never pronounce his name, Secretary of War, made the narrative argument that two continents were America's backyard. And that set the precedent for powerful nations can have spheres of influence,
Hmm.
which which means if America can have a sphere of influence, so can the EU, so can China, and most importantly, so can Russia. And what does that sphere of influence include? Well, usually its neighbors. Not all of its neighbors, but most of them. The same applies to China. You can even apply that logic to India and even Brazil. How does Brazil feel about being considered the territory of the United States when it has the makings of being maybe not now, maybe not in 10 years, but maybe by the end of the century, Brazil being a great power with its backyard being Latin America? How does Brazil feel about being essentially within the sphere of influence of the USA? Not great. Not great at all. And, I appreciate Roadkill's mindset. Brazil has no say. So America has no say when China outnumbers it, outguns it, controls more territory, has more people, has a larger economy. If that's how we're going to judge this situation, then we return to the World War II mindset of the only way we can have peace is for one side to annihilate the other. And in a nuclear age, that never ends well.
Well,
It's
no,
as
that was.
simple as that. That was the Axis's mindset, Legion. It's like the
Hmm.
only way we will have peace is by annihilating all of our enemies, especially by 1942 onwards, which Americans and Russians, well, for Russians it was 41. But when people think of World War II in America and Russia, they don't think of 1939 to 1945. They think either 1941 or 1942, depending on whether you're Russian or American, until the end of the war. So you could say, the 6 year conflict was split in two. From a Japanese perspective, World War II began in 1932 with the invasion of Manchuria. So if we have this mindset of Brazil has no say, America controls Brazil, uh, two continents are our backyard, powerful nations can have a sphere of influence, you've created that precedent of only the strongest can rule. Everyone else must either be subservient or die. Do you know who else had that mindset in America? Britain.
Yes.
The very mindset that patriotic Americans are pushing for is the mindset the British imperialists had with America.
Guess what? That didn't go very well, did it? Because quite frankly, we got tired of it.
Yes. And so will the world.
Yes, and the world will. So I'm very much of the mindset that America needs to, and we haven't done it in a long time, and I think it sucks that we haven't. We need to walk quietly but carry a big stick, because again,
Yes.
it goes to the mindset of that in the United States, an armed society is a polite society, because you know what? If you decide to be a psycho, I can shoot you in the face. Or if I decide to be a psycho, you can shoot me in the face. Maybe we're going to decide not to be psychos and be like, hey, Bill, how's it going? And we'll go about our business, even though I may hate your guts. That's kind of how
Yeah.
it works.
It's
But
quite literally deterrence. Go ahead.
yeah, but walking around like a bull in a china shop, which again, the United States has absolutely done more than I personally wish we would have. Again, I'm going to go with the vast wars that we did not need to fight. And usually it's people, because again, war lines people's pockets. It's being a bull in a china shop just pisses everybody the fuck off. It just
Oh
does,
yeah.
because they're like, why are you breaking everybody's shit? Like, what the hell is your problem? It's like the drunk guy at a party who falls through the table and then he runs into the stereo, and like everybody's like, dude, you're a dick. Get the fuck out.
Quite literally in that case. It's just, other great nations in centuries gone past have had the mindset that American patriots have today in regards to, the foreign adventures, right? Japan had this mindset of we deserve the Pacific as our sphere of influence, East Asia and the Pacific region, right? We're number one. We're the strongest power here. We can take what we want. What did that lead to? Millions of East Asians getting slaughtered from 1932 until the end of the war in 1945.
Yep.
And what was
Because
the result?
well, nothing good. Because again,
Exactly.
people forget too that Japan was at war at China. That's
Yeah.
why Doolittle's raiders, when they bombed
Mm.
Tokyo, their place to land their airplanes that would never make it back to an aircraft carrier was mainland China. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it's a great movie, but you know what? If you want something that's more modern, watch the movie Pearl Harbor from the 90s. At least it shows legitimately that Japan was at war at China and they decided, you know what? We're never going to be able to take on the United States face to face. We're going to have to attack them and try to cripple them. All you did was piss us off so much that we decided to wipe your ass off the planet.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah, ultimately. Right. And we have to consider the changing landscape, right? China was not a united country during that point. It had been in pieces for decades up until that point of the Japanese invasion. And I want to make it clear right here, right now. Thankfully, a deal in air quotes has been struck. It's just the status quo repackage. But there is still time over the next few months for Trump to change his mind and be like, go and invade, right? He would need congressional permission if it was the Navy, the Army and the Navy. He doesn't need congressional permission for the Marines. Do you know why I know that? Because it was President Eisenhower who wanted to, I think it was Eisenhower, who wanted to get rid of the not Royal Marines, the American Marines, right? When I think of Marines, I think of them as British, not American. Very odd. But he wanted to get rid of the Marine Corps, man. Then there was a great big prison riot in Alcatraz, and the prisoners took over. The only forces he could mobilize were the Marine Corps to end that prison riot, and he didn't need congressional permission. Are there a lot of American Marines out there, Legion?
No, there's not because the U.S. Marines are actually a subset of the United States Navy. They are considered a branch in a sense, but they fall under the Department of the Navy. So the
Mhm,
Department of the Army is individual. The Department of the Air Force it used to be the U.S. Army Air Force. I
mhm.
know that because after World War II, my grandfather actually joined the Air Force when it was still the U.S. Army Air Force. So
Cool.
now the Department of the Air Force exists, but yes, the Marines literally exist under the Department of the Navy, and then of course you have the Coast Guard, which is individual of itself, meant to only protect the shores of the United States and stuff like that. So, Roadkill says Navy just gives us a ride. Yeah, well, don't ever tell that. Don't ever tell somebody in the Navy that you guys are the Uber for the Marines because they get really mad
Yeah.
about that. But it is true. It's very true.
I I mean, for say a situation like Canada or Mexico, I can understand not sending the Marines, but we have to consider Greenland has a population of 58,000 people, right? It's barely defended, right? It barely has a military presence at all outside of, ironically enough, the American military presence that used to be there. So a small operation could easily take over the island. Okay, it would be like Italy invading San Marino, because San Marino is literally just a little city enclave within Italy that's surrounded on all sides with a small population. It would not take that much of an effort for the Italians to swallow up San Marino, but they recognized the enclave sovereignty. Likewise with the Vatican, but the Vatican only has a few. I don't think the Vatican even has any permanent residents apart from the Pope and his servants. It's very interesting. But thankfully, oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, no, you're absolutely correct.
Mm.
So as far as I understand it, yes, the Vatican is sovereign territory. It is its own quote country. The
Uh-huh.
Pope is a permanent resident. The cardinals and the bishops, they come from throughout the world. It's how we have the very first American Pope ever. Now, again, I'm not going to say that's a great thing because he has, as in most Americans, and we've really made it too much of our identity. He is politically motivated. I don't care for that. But anyway, yeah, no, it's Greenland is basically a giant slab of land
Yep.
that people are spotted throughout. They're like
Mm.
a sneeze on a giant piece of cardboard.
Yep.
It's nothing but frigid land. It'd be like invading, a slightly less hostile chunk of Antarctica. So
Yep.
because so that I understand the strategic military value. I don't think Donald Trump is going to do anything invasion of any sort or any way, shape, or form. I really don't because again, what just recently he invited Vladimir Putin to the peace talks in the Middle East to join
Mhm.
as an emissary because again, Russia is a very prominent country. Are they what they used to be in the USSR? Absolutely not. No. But still, out of the fact that these are hard snub-nosed people, you know what, who quite frankly, you don't want to get in a fist fight with because again, they can push the button just like we can and the whole world's
Oh yeah.
gone. So anyway, but Greenland is something that strategically military valued. I think negotiating with them, we already have an I'm sorry, I believe it's an Air Force base. There's no naval base. We could easily negotiate for territories for a couple of naval bases and call it good. Give the Greenland, the what, Greenlandians. I don't know what we
Greenlanders.
Greenlanders. I like Landians.
Mm.
I don't know. It makes them sound exotic. Anyway, give them $12,000 a month. All right, instead of
Mm.
Denmark, they're getting 10,000 a month. We give them 12,000 a month, like a woohoo. And we dot the Greenland coast in the northern hemisphere mostly because that's what we're shooting for here with naval bases and air force bases, and we call it good, and everybody's happy. So I don't think there's going to be any hostile, but
No.
the long and the short of it is that our politicians around here, they want to paint Donald Trump as the worst human being in the history of the world. He's a fascist dictator. He's mustache man from 1930s and 40s Germany. It's just stupid, and it's just at this point it's nonsensical. So now again, Denmark has a claim to Greenland, so it's basically a deal. We have to outbid Denmark and give them probable reason to not want to support Greenland anymore.
Mm. It's so interesting when you look at the history because the Greenlanders have wanted to be their own nation for a long time. Denmark has tried their best to accommodate that. That's why the Greenlanders have what's known as autonomous rule, which means they're in charge of everything in Greenland, apart from two things: defense and foreign affairs. Right, and the reason for that, Denmark say, is because if Greenland was in charge of its own defense and foreign affairs, it wouldn't have its independence for very long. It's 58,000 people. The country is an entire hunk of ice, and its principal resource, before the minerals, of course, was fish. It doesn't have the means to sustain itself,
No.
unfortunately. In fact, it's probably one of the very few territories on Earth, right,
Oh.
with one of the largest populations that cannot sustain itself, like legitimately. Another example would be the Falkland Islands, right, in the South Atlantic. Only a few thousand people live in the Falkland Islands. It's a British overseas territory that the Argentinians want. And, the people of those islands want to remain British, but if it was its own little enclave, it wouldn't be able to sustain itself. In fact, large reason why a lot of overseas territories still exist, be they they're mostly British and French. A few are American, is because of the fact that they cannot sustain themselves if they were independent. Puerto Rico is a different matter, right? Because millions of people live on Puerto Rico, and it could technically sustain itself as an independent country. So technically, it's a territory slash colony of the U.S. So that's probably the only exception. But Greenland literally cannot sustain itself, despite the fact that they want to be independent. So there you
So
go.
yeah,
Hmm.
and what's kind of odd too is that so I live in Colorado. I grew up here. The population of Boulder, Colorado is 100,000 people. And if
Yeah,
anybody knows anything about Boulder, Colorado, it is literally California in a concentrated county and city. There are twice as many people there that are in the whole entire of Greenland. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. So yeah.
Greenland's. I know Canada is Greenland's closest neighbor, so I can't make that narrative argument. They have 40 million people, but one of Greenland's neighbors, Iceland, right?
Hmm.
Everyone knows Iceland, right? The place
Yep.
that's actually green has a population of 300,000 people,
Yep.
right? So not many people live on Iceland either, right? The principal means Iceland has of sustaining themselves is fish and geothermal energy. That's how Iceland was able to secure its independence from Denmark, because they eventually became self sustaining. And the Danes were like, oh, you're self sustaining now, so you can be your own country. The Kingdom of Denmark have been more like custodians than colonizers, which is very interesting considering that's not usually what people do when they take over land. They usually just use it, but not Denmark. But it's very interesting the way things are. I'm sure this situation will develop in the coming weeks or months. But for now, a deal is in the works. But I think if I were Donald Trump, I would take over Greenland, because the way things are currently politically, I don't think MAGA's legacy will last until the end of this decade if it keeps going the way it does. So let's take over Greenland. Let's take over Canada. Let's create the American empire, and I can rule as president forever, backed by the military. That's what I think. But on that note, let's move to the third topic. You know, we've been going longer than I thought we would. I thought this was only going to be a 90-minute show. Might even turn into 2 hours. 2.3, write it down for an hour, 16 minutes, and 30 seconds. Folks, if you haven't already, like the stream, share the stream. We appreciate everyone's support. YouTube took 3 likes away, folks. They're suppressing us. It's very bad. But the third topic is the following quote: is WWE rehabilitating Vince McMahon as Logan Paul calls for his Hall of Fame induction? I'm just going to ask Legion straight up. Hopefully he's still there.
I am.
Legion, do you think Vince McMahon will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, he has to. He literally has to. If the WWE Hall of Fame has inducted the likes of Bret the Hitman Hart after a giant controversy in the early 90s, Hulk Hogan, who had of course, giant controversy, Vince McMahon, I think is probably, yes, going to be inducted as well. Now, the only one who has not been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame is Chris Benoit, because, well, he killed his family and he killed himself
Yeah.
in a very violent, brutal murder. That's really hard to get around. Again, there are allegations against, Vince McMahon, of course, because, I mean, he's a billionaire. Well, billionaires do what billionaires do. Do I think that should stop him from being put into the Hall of Fame? No, I don't. So I think eventually, after some time, after things have had time to cool, it's going to take a few years, but I think that yes, he will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Well, let's put it this way. Do you think they'll induct him when he's alive or when he's dead?
Well, that's hard to say,
Hmm.
because again, there's going to need to be a cool down period because Vince has not been a part of WWE for maybe the better part of a year and a
Mm.
half tops. So we're probably going to have to sit around for another couple of years before they start pondering that.
I mean, what's so interesting is that throughout the McMahon era, folks, which is a very long period of time in WWE, formerly WWF's history, is that WWE, especially, right, after they won the Monday Night War against WCW, you'd see this in their promotional material. You'd also see this in their documentaries and in their physical media releases. They would love to rewrite history and twist things. I don't know if you noticed that, Legion, because you're a bit of a wrestling fan, I think. They
Hmm.
would twist things, right? They would rewrite history to make themselves look better. Case in point with, as you mentioned previously, Chris Benoit, because when he died, turned out to be a murder suicide, folks. Let's just call it what it is. But initially, WWE thought Chris Benoit had died. And so they instead of investigating further, they literally rolled out the red carpet and paid tribute to him, like they do with a lot of professional wrestlers, right? Then the revelations started to come out, and you saw WWE turn quicker than a dime, right?
Hmm.
And they rewrote the whole history to literally wipe Chris Benoit off the face of the earth, bordering on Soviet levels of rewriting history, folks, right? Oh my goodness, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they battled for the WWE or for the World Championship, and neither of them won it. It's a mystery. Where did it go? Where did the championship go? We have no idea. It was Chris Benoit that won that. And I think that was that WrestleMania? I,
Well, so for the
one of
longest
I don't
time, if I remember correctly, Chris Benoit held. Hold on, Chris Benoit. Let me Google it.
because I know
Fastest.
yeah, I know Chris Benoit had a WrestleMania match with Eddie Guerrero, who sadly died before his time. Um, I I think he won a championship belt after beating Shawn Michaels and Triple H, right? Which
Yes.
was which was unprecedented considering how much strength Triple H and Shawn Michaels had even then in WWE. Not to mention now, they're practically running it now. So if Chris Benoit hadn't have gone insane as a result of that finisher, man, brain damage the finisher. If he hadn't gone insane as a result of that, it was brain damage the finisher.
Yes, yes, it
Um,
was.
he would have been a WWE legend in a similar way to say Chris Jericho is today. I honestly believe Chris Benoit would have gone to AEW. Right. I honestly would have believed that because he used to confide mostly in Eddie Guerrero. Right. That's why Guerrero's death really freaked or rather fucked Chris Benoit's head up even more. And he did confide a lot in Chris Jericho because they were both Canadian wrestlers. Okay. And I want to make the point very
They both
clear
came.
in this case.
They both came up
Go
from
on.
WCW, which
Yes.
so the Radicals, which was Chris Benoit was a part of, and the during the Attitude Era, roughly I believe about 1999, the Radicals
Hmm.
showed up, which was Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Eddie
Eddie
Guerrero.
Guerrero. Yeah,
So
I think I was 2000 because I think once Jericho had left WCW back in 99 because he hadn't renewed his contract in I think it was 2 months. Yeah, it couldn't have been 2 years. That was too long. It
you're
essentially
right.
gave, yeah, it essentially gave the green light for other cruiserweights to defect as well, because Chris Jericho's original run at WWE, folks, was insane. He was going toe to toe with The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin,
Yes.
the Undertaker. He was like top level for years, and then he sort of went down the ranks in the mid to late 2000s. So it essentially created the green light for Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, and Perry Saturn to defect. It's so weird. As soon as he defected, Dean Malenko became a coach.
Well,
I could never understand that.
because what Dean Malenko came from the was it the Hart
Power
Foundation?
plant.
Was it? I can't remember where he came. He came from a wrestling school that literally was, I mean, old school. I'm talking about it vicious, just vicious. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
don't make wrestlers in today's world like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
He came. Where is it? School. Sorry, I'm having
Let,
to look it up.
let's let's put it this way, folks. WWE, now under the control of TKO, can't really Chris Benoit Vince McMahon. They can't. Right. That means getting rid of most of their history. And a lot of WWE's strength is in its legacy, folks. Right. A lot of their strength comes from how well the company did, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s. And a lot of people lamented the fact that ever since the demise of WCW, the WWE product degraded for well over a decade. Even when Trump was there, remember, folks, Trump was literally in WWE, Trump
Yep.
Raw. That was one of the few periods in the late 2000s, early 2010s when it was rebounding. But that relied on connections. It didn't rely on wrestler quality. And it was going lower and lower and lower for, I'd say, a good 15 years. And the pandemic era really reset everything for
The pandemic era.
WWE. Yeah, well, resetted everything quite literally. And now you've got look. Oh God, I'm in such. Oh, I'm in two minds when it comes to Logan Paul, because I'm sorry to say this, guys. Logan Paul is a good example of a successful content creator, despite the fact that he is, and you can quote me on this, an utter cunt of a human being.
Yeah, he's a massive bent.
Yeah. This guy first made a name for himself recording a suicide in a Japanese forest. Or was that his brother? I always
No,
get
that
them
was him.
mixed up.
No, well,
Oh, that was him.
yeah, there was a hanging body in the suicide forest in Japan where people go and basically just kill themselves. Yeah, he was live and he thought that would be funny to film it and show the hanging body. YouTube was not amused.
Well, first of all, Japan, to my knowledge, no other country has this phenomenon, so why do you? And second of all, why are you filming it? Why does a content creator film anything? To take advantage of the situation. And essentially, most creators who become successful, folks, are opportunists. Logan Paul is a textbook example. He goes from filming a hanging Jap, which caused a massive backlash, mass cancellation, to essentially becoming a WWE superstar and a massive celebrity. What does that
Yes.
tell you?
Well, and you know what? I'm of two minds about this too because I despise Logan Paul as a human being, but as a wrestler, he's actually very, very good, and you can tell that he has been through the ringer because again, even modern day wrestling, as somebody who went through WWE and NXT, they don't baby you. Now they're not going to
No.
be as extreme as back in the 80s and 90s stuff like that. No, there's but as somebody who did go through in the 20 teens basically roughly around 2015-ish. Guess what? It's one of those things that if you make a mistake, because again, it is a very physical kind of entertainment. It is somewhat of a sport. If you accidentally punch somebody in the face, they're going to tell you that in training times, or even during a match secretly, where you can hear and the audience does not, they're like, you know what, if you hit me again, I'm going to punch you back. And
Yep.
that's that. And I got that because I accidentally screwed up a clothesline. I hit a dude in the face. He was a smaller guy than me.
Oh.
But the thing is, though, is that he had more experience. He's like, look, he's like, I understand. He's like, you're newer. He's like, you're new. You're still green under the collar. He's like, you get one. He's like, you get me again. He's like, I'm gonna hit you back. And I said, nope, I get it. That's the way it works. So,
Yeah, you don't want a Goldberg on your hands, folks.
oh God, Goldberg is awful. God, he was
Literally a
terrible.
man who's all reputation and no talent, right? Okay, which really embodied the desperation WCW had in 1998. It's like, shit, you're literally potentially ruining people's careers just to stay neck and neck with your opposition. Bret Hart would like a word with you, but I will make another point in this whole debacle. If Logan Paul is suggesting this, then there is a school of thought that wants this happening, right? Because he was brought into this, right? He wanted to be in it, and he got brought in. You're seeing a similar phenomenon with I Show Speed, right? That how best to describe a young black gentleman? A young black gentleman who likes to jump over Lamborghinis for fun. For some reason, he's getting trained by Randy Orton, received wrestling training by Randy Orton, and I'm thinking to myself, is this how the WWE is trying to connect itself with the modern media world, collaborating with prominent creators to bring in new audiences? But one thing's for sure, if they induct Vince McMahon into the WWE Hall of Fame, it's going to be controversial, whether they like it or not. And we have to understand, under TKO, WWE is more of a business now than it ever was. That's why ticket prices have gone through the roof. You can say many things about Vince McMahon. He kept ticket prices relatively affordable for families because he knew, especially being the only major brand in sports entertainment, that without the next generation, your business is screwed. So there you
Well,
go.
yeah, there you go. So,
Mhm.
and I think modern day WWE is it's rough. It's rough to watch. I do not watch it on a daily basis. The last match I watched was John Cena's final match where he tapped out to Gunther. I think that was a shit ending, quite frankly. I do blame Triple H for that because he is the head of creative. It was a crap way to go out, and I think it was a giant letdown to the fans. Because again, I loved John Cena's heel run. Like, my biggest criticism of John Cena, who I've met John Cena, because again, I trained at NXT. I've met
Yeah.
John Cena. He's an awesome dude. My biggest criticism of him, and not like I, deserve to criticize him in any professional manner, but just personally watching him on TV, I was like, he never was a bad guy. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, all the biggest superstars of all time to blow the roof off of an arena had a multiple runs of being a
Mhm.
bad guy, where they're like going, you know what, the fans, you know what, The Rock would still do the people's elbow when he was a bad guy. He'd take the elbow pad off, he'd throw, he'd he'd do like the whole up you, like the Brooklyn kind of
Mhm.
like, fuck you, where you hit your arm in your bicep. He'd throw the elbow pad and people still cheered him. Like, Stone Cold Steve Austin was a bad guy, for a long period of time. People still cheered him. So
Yeah.
it's like, John Cena didn't do that for the longest time. And then finally, defeating Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. He turned bad. I loved it. I was eating it up. It was a
Mhm.
solid 4.5 months of him being just a bad guy, bashing on the audience, being a fucking jerk, and then all of a sudden, right before him and Cody were supposed to have their next and final match, he became a good guy again, and the roof blew off the place. The
Mm.
thing is, though, is that while he was a bad guy towards the end of it, right before he turned, a good guy again, and I use these terms good and bad guy because, a heel is a bad guy and a face is a good guy, so before he turned face again, people were chanting his name and cheering him for like bad mouthing him, and that's how The Rock became big.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta tell you folks, right here, right now, one of my favorite matches during the pandemic era was John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Now, unfortunately, Bray Wyatt is now dead, which is tragic. Unfortunately, it is tragic. But when they had, one of the scenes where John Cena was wearing a NWO shirt and the music was playing, I thought, if there was any wrestler who could take that mantle and make it his own, it would be John Cena. But let's face it, Hulk Hogan, for all of his faults, and he had many, or maybe Terry Bollea, one of those, right? 80s, good guy. 90s, good guy, bad guy. 2000s, bad guy, good guy. 2010s, what the fuck are you doing? let's face it, when he was at TNA in the late 2000s and 2010s, I'm thinking, yeah, wrestling's your crack, isn't it? Because
Oh,
you can't give it up, man. I remember TNA in the late 2000s, right? You had Kurt Angle, you had Ric Flair, you had Hulk Hogan, you had Eric Bischoff, you had Sting, you had I believe AJ Styles was still there. I think you had Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, I think, had inebriated himself to the point of going by that point. But you had so much talent there to really build something, and it just completely fell apart. This is why you don't let a crazy lady run a company. But on that note, folks, best of luck to you, Vince McMahon. I'm all for you. Just don't shit on me. I mean, literally, don't shit on me. So, on that note, let's move to the final topic of today's show. Looking like a 2-hour show. The fourth topic. And folks, if you are eating, stop eating, right? Or stop watching the show. Okay? If you are in the process of eating, stop or switch off the show, because what I am about to show you is literally worthy of a warning. So if you're watching this video and eating, don't watch this video. Okay, 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 10 seconds. I have to put the timestamp before so you can hear my disclaimer. Right. The fourth topic is Libs of TikTok discovers Cyrax as Minnesota goes insane. I'm going to share my screen, and what you are about to see could well ruin your day.
yeah, I saw this before you put it as a topic. There it is.
Okay. The best thing about seeing this is that one thing about Cyrax you'll come to understand. First of all, he's a disgusting human being. Second of all, he looks like a Silent Hill or Resident Evil monster. And third of all, you will not find almost any videos of this guy in full HD because he looks even more disgusting in full HD. I mean, yeah, where is his shoulders? Don't know. Don't know. Literally, his head is as wide as his shoulders are, which is terrifying. But courtesy of Libs of TikTok, we might as well provide context. Libs of TikTok Hi at FBI. This dude from Akron, Ohio is threatening to shoot ICE agents because he thinks they're terrorists. Right? This is how Cyrax enters the zeitgeist. A man who literally graped a blind person. A
Oh, I can see
man,
that.
yeah, a man who literally wanted to meet up with a 12-year-old girl. A man who literally has massive scabs of bed bugs all over the top of his head. He's a disgusting human being, the lowest of the low. And it took a prominent Jewish conservative creator to expose this monster. Okay? So we're just going to listen to this guy. And I've been aware of Cyrax for 5 years. I know his standard playbook. But people are not ready for this.
To any ICE agent that thinks they're going to come into my home and terrorize me and my family,
That's a
you will
lovely.
with lethal force. I will kill on sight, and I will shoot to kill if need be.
One thing you'll notice about Cyrax, this is actually the straightest I've seen Cyrax's eyes for a long time. Usually, when he gets angry, his eyes go further apart, right? So he's actually very calm making this statement. And Prophetic Apathetic says Gollum started growing hair. Interesting. Oh dear. Roadkill, Cyrax looks as strong as the Soviet Union did in the early 90s. As in, not strong at all. But let's finish the rest of this.
ICE agents are not allowed in my home. If you come into my home to terrorize my family,
It's not your home, it's your grandmother Sally's home who you abuse. And he's also attracted to his stepfather. Yeah, he's such a disgusting creature.
That's different.
I will see you as a threat, and I will kill you. Because you guys are terrorists. Bear in mind, I am very much armed and will do what I need to do to protect my family.
I have never in the years I've seen this creature on camera, right? I have never seen him with a weapon, like a firearm. Never. I've seen him with hammers. I've seen him with sticks. I've seen him with all sorts of various tools, but never with a weapon. For obvious reasons. So there you go.
I have $1 million question.
Yes.
Why in the blue hell
Mm.
would an ICE agent enter his house? Is his family illegal? I mean,
No.
obviously he's not, because that
No.
dude is motherfucking inbred from Appalachia.
Appalachia, yeah. But yeah, his father. You see, folks, people need to understand, and I know YouTube, you can't say certain words. This guy, Cyrax, is a third generation pedophile. His father was a pedo, his grandfather was a pedo. In fact, this guy is technically, since we've already said problematic words, this guy is technically a rape baby. So yeah, literally all the shit put together. His father got locked away. And his mother died in a fire because she was mentally deficient and couldn't leave the building. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a good life, not a good heritage. There's nothing good about the situation. That's why this guy, Cyrax, isn't even a lol cow. He's a horror cow. You want to know something else about this guy? Legion, do you know what a stylus is?
A stylist?
Yes, a stylus, like a thing you use for a tablet.
Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah.
Right. There is visual footage of this man Sticking a stylus up his ass.
What?
Yes, it's almost laughable. The same stylus, folks, that he used and pretended to be a knife to his throat to try and get other people to apologize for him for apparently bullying him. Okay? The main guy who exposed this creature, a creator called Music Bismarty, who my mentor made a rising star for exposing this creep, sadly is no longer with us. He's passed away. But this mutant motherfucker is so paranoid that he thinks Music Bismarty faked his own death to get to him. This creature is deluded. And finally, thanks to libs of TikTok, it's being exposed to everyone. And it is quite the sight to see people who have no idea who this guy is finally realizing who this monster is. This monster has avoided jail, right? Has avoided getting convicted because of his mental deficiencies. This guy has probably committed at least a crime a day for the last 5 years. And he hasn't been touched. Akron, Ohio, folks.
Well, he
I
definitely looks like he's out of the movie Wrong Turn.
stand against ICE. Any ICE agents that show up to my home to terrorize my family will be dealt with immediately.
The reason why this creature became a prime lolcow is because of things like that. You just spent like 5 seconds staring at a camera or staring into space. Because he's literally retarded. And what's the reaction to this situation? Folks, if we scroll down, yes, of course Cyrax responded, because he always fucking responds. He never doubles down. He gaslights people. He always thinks he's a victim, right? Yes, he got arrested. He attacked someone with a baseball bat. Didn't face prison time for it because he's mentally deficient. Yeah, Asmongold in 10 years. You got a lot. You got a lot to say, Ricky Barrick. Your limbs don't even work properly. Oh, look. Yes, Jay Viper. There's zero chance this dude has a collar.
You got Jay, you got Count
Yep.
Dankula. Like
Yep.
women being awful. That's funny. Quarterback Garrett.
Yeah, so many great people here, right? And some people who know him, know of him, like quarterback Garrett and Count Dankula, and some folks who have no idea who this individual is, right? Okay, it's a sight to behold. The fact that Bridget Gabriel is reacting to this, it's like worlds are colliding, man. Worlds are colliding. I sound like a hippie because that's what this feels like. It feels like, and of course, Music Bismarty didn't die for this. It's so ironic, Legion, that the man primarily responsible for exposing this monster did not live to see this day, where he's finally getting exposed. Because Music Bismarty was never the most prominent of creators. Right? Oh, look. Who are they? Right? And yeah, here he is. He's like absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And yes, he's been compared to the creature from Wrong Turn. Yeah, that's not literally his family. That's AI, but you wouldn't disbelieve it if you saw it. And folks, good lord, a white Somalian. Oh, goodness me. But I just wanna get Legion's perspective. Did you know who Cyrax was before this topic?
No, but I greatly enjoyed him in Deliverance. So
I greatly enjoyed him in Kingdom Come Deliverance.
no,
No,
no.
I'm
Long story short, seriously, he looks out of Wrong Turn with Eliza Dushku. or Dushku. I can't remember how she pronounced her last name. Great movie about inbred people who, or one of my favorite episodes of the X Files, Home, where it's an to read. Well, he fits right in. I don't want to make fun of nobody, but dude, you have a serious problem. Apparently, you have charges against you, labeled by the police because you've done psychotic things, and you're just going for what, broke?
He is broke. Mentally, physically, psychologically.
Yeah.
Normies have discovered Cyrax. Look, Legion. He is the most despicable lol cow that hasn't faced jail time, right? People know about Chris Chan, right? The Sonichu medallion, the curse, Chris Chan fucking his own grandmother or whatever the fuck that was. He got prison time for that. People might not know about Daniel Larson, who literally is a crazy lunatic out of his mind and threatened the authorities. He got prison time. Cyrax has never faced any accountability for what he has done, right? So many things he has done. Case in point would be that he tried to arrange a meeting with a 12-year-old girl, for example. Another example is where he shoved a stylus up his ass. There are plenty of examples of this creep doing egregious and criminal things. He's one of the most deplatformed creators out there. He's been deplatformed from YouTube, Twitch, X multiple times because his objective is always the same: build a community and reach out to children for obvious reasons.
I mean, I have to ask, who's that a model for?
I,
Again,
I
I mean,
don't
I'm still somewhat new to content creation. You dive into the weeds of just
I,
gross.
Smokey
But
does not look. I know. I like Smokey MCC. He's a great creator. Is Smokey looks like? Oh, God. But no. In all seriousness, this is what Chance. Cyrax's real name is Chance Wilkins. This is what he looked like about 5, 6, 7 years ago. He was about 28 then. He's in his mid-30s now.
he looks like he's 52
Yeah.
and has a drinking problem.
Yeah, probably does.
His face is like caving in on itself.
Yes.
Or maybe that's meth. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, it's usually the meth that makes your face cave in. Sorry.
People making the Cyrax Mortal Kombat joke. But yeah,
Well,
even oh dear. But even the guy's name, Cyrax, his creator name, he stole that from another creator. Oh God, no.
oh
Oh, he's
no.
shirtless.
Oh
You can
Jesus.
actually see what he looks like. He has no
Dude,
shoulders, like at all.
dude, he's a midget. No,
Yeah,
not like
he's
legally,
tiny and he's
not like
deformed.
legally a midget, but dude is like what, 5'4"? He has to be. That is a
Hmm.
small human.
Oh yeah. It,
I
and
mean,
there's
I'm
also
6'4", 260 pounds. I'd punt him across the room. Like, what the hell is that?
that was a similar size to Music Bismardi, who literally did punt him twice
Ugh.
as a result of this guy's egregious actions. But there is also footage, folks, and this is courtesy of Kiwi Farms. We cannot show it on YouTube. We couldn't
No.
even show it on Rumble, of this guy masturbating nude on
Oh.
camera.
Oh. Oh,
Right.
for fuck's
And
sake.
and from what I've been told, there were many bite marks on the phallus.
Well, that's lovely.
This creature who fancies himself as this singer, right? Let's see. Let's play this.
He genuinely was a good fucking dude. See, a lot of people thought that
And he's moaning about, King Cobra, who is another lol cow who recently died because his drinking addiction finally caught up with him. Imagine Ozzy Osbourne on meth. That's King Cobra JFS, essentially. But yeah, this creature is finally going to be exposed, and I think that's a good thing. Really. I really do think that. And yes, we are literally seeing Mortal Kombat things as well. Yeah. It's oh look, right-wing grifters found out who Cyrax is. Fuck you, you cunt. Right? Call her Jewish at least. Okay. Oh, oh yeah. According to Cyrax, he is the Roman Reigns of YouTube. Guy's so delusional. So delusional. It's unbelievable. But yeah. It's not a good sight. Let's just put it that way. Now you all know who Cyrax is. Just type in on YouTube Cyrax lolcow. You will find so many examples, right? There was one time, Legion, where Cyrax tried to take down one of Music Bismardi's streams by flashing on camera, showing his penis to try and get the stream down.
Wait, he pulled a Gavin no, not Gavin McInnes.
Yes.
Yeah, Gavin
On,
McInnes.
on multiple occasions, but he failed because Music Bismardi was a very sharp guy. Unfortunately, now he is dead. In fact, I don't know if I can do this on YouTube, react to other videos from YouTube, but we can take a look, right? I just type in Cyrax lolcow, and there are so many examples. So many. It's unbelievable how many examples of this guy literally being a disgusting creature. And all the creators who have made names for themselves off of exposing this guy and other lol cows like him are going to get brand new audiences because of this. So, there again, the opportunistic nature of content creation. Simple as that. But yeah, there are plenty of examples. Cyrax's horrifying history.
Wait, Cyrax
Cyrax self
what
the
channel is this? I want
documentary.
to watch this. But go
Swampy. It's a playlist from Swampy D, and there's literally 186 videos.
all right, Swampy D, here we come.
And
I like the name, by the way.
there's also Turkey Tom. There's Lolcow Live. Smokey MCC is my favorite creator who has covered Cyrax, so I'd highly recommend Smokey MCC. There are so many examples, man. So many. Yes, N-Word Boy, who is one of the main guys now since Music Biz Marty passed away, who exposes Cyrax. Literally on camera, he shat himself.
Good grief. There's
Yeah.
a lot. Holy shit. Like
Yeah,
literally,
there's
because
also
apparently again, live on stream he shit himself.
yes, yes. There's also an example because he was on Lolcow Live and he went fucking crazy on Lolcow Live at Boogie, and I'm thinking to myself, Boogie, you lied about your cancer. What the fuck are you doing collaborating with this monster? This
He
literal monster.
he probably
No?
tried to find somebody worse than him. I like how our our thumbnails up. Also at the same
Yeah.
time, that's a terrible photo of me. And you know what? I celebrate that. So
It's
you know,
best
let's
it's the best photo I have of you.
no, I'm saying I celebrate that. So quite frankly,
Mm,
I know that Grok has new restrictions on it. Apparently,
mm.
you can no longer, and again, because yes, on last Wednesday I showed a photo of a certain politician, her in a mustache man bikini. Because of again, I didn't know that AI was doing this. Apparently, there's new restrictions on it, but you can't put her in a bikini of the mustache man persuasion, but you can put me or Elon Musk in a bikini of that. I'm like, I don't understand. So, apparently AI is getting weird. there's some restrictions, but anyway, yeah, no, I celebrate that photo, and if anybody wants to do weird shit to my photos, I don't give a crap. I'm an online personality. Y'all go nuts, you weirdos.
Okay, folks, don't use gambling. Gambling is bad.
Yeah, don't.
Don't use planes. Planes are also bad, especially when they come from the Middle East.
You mean
Okay.
like airplanes?
Yes, that was Emirates. Right. So I'm just going to
I
share
heard
this because
United
this is
Emirates is nice.
yeah, well, bit
I know a
too.
couple of people that have flown on them, and they're really nice.
It's a bit too close for Saudi Arabia for my liking. But
Fair
let's
enough.
play. Let's just play this little clip.
This was not.
My part. Time for you to pay up, bitch. I held up my end of the deal, fast. I did what you wanted to do. I demand payment.
That was not.
Now. I demand payment now, Nick. I held up my end. Time for you to pay up, bitch. Now.
What is it doing?
Or I'll tell your girlfriend. Here in just a few minutes. You don't pay up. I'm getting a hold of.
Sir, what were the terms of the deal?
Hey, either that or I show my cock and I get you banned. Which is it, Nick?
And that was courtesy of Smokey MCC, who's right there, who clipped this from a Music Biz Marty stream. This was from years back, but Cyrax was talking to Music Biz Marty. Marty managed to convince Cyrax to do, skull scratcher comedy, because, Cyrax always scratches his skull, and didn't pay him for doing it. So that's why Cyrax is going crazy. There's also another example. If I got to find the specific. Where's the specific part? Ah, this is it. There it is. I hope to God I don't get struck for this. Because this is entertaining. So let's play.
I held up my end of the deal, fat ass. I did what you wanted to do. I demand payment.
That was not.
Now. I demand payment now, Nick. I held up my end. Time for you to pay up, bitch. Now.
What is it doing?
Or I'll tell your girlfriend. Here in just a few minutes. You don't pay up. I'm getting a hold of.
Sir, what were the terms of the deal?
Hey, either that or I show my cock and I get you banned. Which is it, Nick? Pay up.
Whatever
right,
you prefer, but this you.
Hey, look, and then he goes
yes,
to do
I
it.
did, fat fuck, little bitch made fuck
You
boy.
did not. You did not.
Suck my cock, lover. Suck my cock, you loser. That shows you ain't a good businessman. That shows you ain't doing shit. You're a bitch. You don't hold up your end of the deal. Here, you want a skull scratch? Here you go, boy. Here you go, bitch. You happy, bitch? Fuck you, Nick.
Where's the voice?
Fuck
Hey,
you.
you crazy
Fuck
bunch of
you.
weirdos.
Fuck
Hey,
you.
you crazy
Fuck
kids.
you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Hey,
Fuck
you crazy bunch of weirdos.
you. Fuck you.
Good.
And you can see,
God.
of course, you can see Music Biz Marty laughing in response to that. But yeah, it had to be censored for the video, but he was
yeah.
saying, the N-word quite a lot. Yes. The necklace, Roadkill, had the Christian cross on it. So Cyrax is a Christian. Maybe because he wants to be a priest and touch up all the little children.
I think with his size, he's close to being the size of little children.
Yeah. This guy didn't even graduate high school. He left high school at 21.
Shit.
Yeah.
Is that real or is that a joke
Yeah.
that you just said?
That's literally true.
Oh,
He left
sweet
high
mother
school
of
at 21.
Moses.
He was so retarded, and I'm going to use that term because it clinically applies here, that he couldn't graduate high school, so he had to leave at 21. I hope this situation ruins Cyrax. I really do. Because if this doesn't ruin him, then nothing will, and he will eventually get what he wants, and I'm going to say it, rapes a child, because that's what he wants to do. Not kidding. look more into the history of Cyrax, the ultimate lolcow. I think he's even more of a lolcow than Chris Chan and Daniel Larson, and those two have done some egregious shit. So there you go, folks. We've gone over 2 hours. But on that note, if this is the first time you've learned of Cyrax, well, you can hate me later. It might save your child's life. All right. Future plans 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 10 seconds. Future plans, Legion, what are your future plans?
I don't have any future plans right now other than continuing to work on the house, the yard, pretty much everything that's well, you know what? When you inherit your family home inadvertently 5 months ago, you find out that there's a lot of stuff to do. I did start a side business, which is great. Took a little business trip to Provo, Utah yesterday. Posted some photos on Twitter because I mean I've never driven that direction and it was really pretty. So anyway, long story short, took the truck, had a lot of fun, and yeah, I'll be on whatever YouTube stream I can be on. Couldn't make it yesterday because again, business trip. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get back into gaming. I finally found out that StreamYards is working again. I just need to find the time to sit down and take a couple hours and stream. So anyway, other than that, I'm sure I'll be around here on this channel soon. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, as for me, folks, in just over 7 hours' time, I will be on Cancel This Podcast's flagship Thursday show exclusively on Rumble. We'll be able to talk about many topics of the day. It'll be a 3-hour show, and I'm going to get some rest before that show because I have a meeting tomorrow, and I don't think I'll be able to sleep after I have a good talk with Jose and Alki John. So, got to get those 7 hours of sleep. Friday, we're going to have a network show hosted by Dash Tech. The plan is to have Slay Every Game as our special guest. Hopefully, they can liaise and communicate to make that happen. Great to see DJ Ronnie G. You just woke up. Well, that's good to know. I hope you won't change your gender because that's not good. And yeah, thank you all very much for watching today's show. If you haven't already, like the stream, share the stream. Support is always appreciated. We're at 12 likes currently, but any more would be great. As I predicted, today's show didn't do as well as our previous shows, but let's face it, this is a one-to-one show. Previous shows were panel shows. So I'm very grateful that we managed to get the support that we have. So you can go and check out Legion. He has lots of channels, but we've linked his most popular one in the description. From there, you can find the rest of his channels. Of course, you can find me at the Dignified Cartoon Gentleman. I'm only one subscriber away from 330. So go tell a friend about this channel, and hopefully we can get hit that milestone, get over that hurdle. And you can also check me out on Rumble at the same name, the Dignified Cartoon Gentleman. So thank you very much, Legion, for being on. Thank
Of course.
you very much for watching. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, bye for now.
See ya.